You need a water. Come on, man. You need a water right here. So first of all, thank you. So you're at your son's game, right? You're at your son's game?
Yes.
Yes. So he made it here a pretty good time. So anyway, they've been waiting. They're anxious to hear from you. Thank you for coming.
My pleasure.
And I showed them your bio and your background.
Okay.
When you made that decision to leave Temple and go to Europe, how did you come up with that decision?
Okay, you're getting heavy stuff already. But before that, let me apologize. You getting live fresh in person. Sorry about I'm not dressed like I normally dress. But I literally was at my son's game. No. Forgive me. But I'm happy to be here. Hope y'all get some good knowledge from today. So your question was again?
Okay. When you left Temple, you went overseas.
Yes.
You were drafted in the second round, but you decided to go overseas.
Absolutely.
Why'd you decide to do that?
Why I decided to do that? So I was drafted second round by the Golden State Warriors, which was like I fell in the draft. I was supposed to be a lottery pick, as they say. I got hurt in my first workout with the Atlanta Hawks, and I couldn't work out for nobody else. And I tried to work out through injuries, and I just didn't look good. So I fell in the draft. So a big thing for me was I wanted to play basketball. And then also during that thing, I told my agent at that time, who was Sal DeFazio, I said, listen, I want you to be on the phone with European teams. I want to go to the highest bidder. He said, what are you talking about? You're about to be a lottery pick. I said, look, I don't care about that. I want to go to the highest bidder because basketball was my life. That's what I wanted to do. I didn't care where I played, as long as I got paid to play, as long as I was having fun. So before, as the last pick, went to the New York Knicks, which was John Thomas, who played for the University of Minnesota, was the last pick in the first round. Before the second pick or the third pick in the second round had happened, I had already signed my deal to go to Europe. So when I was upstairs, it was fax machines then. So now I was upstairs in my mother's house signing the contract to go to a team called Tofaş in Bursa, Turkey. My family went crazy. Oh my God, you just got drafted. I said, oh, that's nice. I'll be right down. And I stayed upstairs. People said, what do you mean? I was like, I'm doing something. I'll be right down. So our bitch came down. And I came down. People are celebrating. Oh, you just got drafted by Golden State. And before I hit the bottom steps, my agent phone rings. Now, mind you, people are going so happy and excited. Oh, you just got drafted, whether it's first or second round, it's a dream coming true. I knew I was going to get looked at funny when I told them, by the way, I just signed the deal to go to Turkey. And so as I come downstairs and I said, as I'm about to tell them what happened, my agent's phone rings. And he puts me on the phone as PJ Carlissimo, who was the coach at the time. He said, Mark, I don't believe you fell to us. We're so happy to have you. And mind you, my family don't know I signed to go to Europe. So as I'm step down the steps in the room and my agent handed me the phone, I'm telling them, as I tell my family simultaneously, that I chose to go to Europe. I said, Coach, man, it would be an honor to play for you. I'm looking forward to it, but that would have to wait. I just signed a deal to go to Turkey. He said, what are you talking about? I said, I signed a deal to go to a EuroLeague team in Europe called Tofaş to go to Turkey. He said, what do you mean we just drafted you? I said, yes, but I wanted to go to highest bidder, sir, and I wanted to go to Turkey. And back then, the transparency, the league minimum was $298,000 and the second round picks. And when I got drafted, you was going to sign a non-guaranteed $298,000 deal. And he was like, well, we just drafted you. I said, I know, but I want to go to the highest bidder. He said, well, we didn't sign you. How do you know what you can get? I said, well, the second round picks get $298,000 non-guaranteed. He said, well, we would guarantee, we give you a 2-year guarantee. I said, Coach, respectfully, you give me 4-year guarantee and it wouldn't match what I just signed for. And he said, what do you mean? And I told him what I signed for. And he said, damn. So it was the largest European deal ever signed by a person straight out of college that never played in the NBA. So I went there and they gave me 80% of my money up front, which is never heard of. So I signed that deal and I went there and my family's looking at me, listening to the phone call like, what's going on? So as I hang up the phone with PJ Carlissimo, I tell my family, by the way, I love you guys. Stay for being here. I appreciate you supporting me. This is a great honor that I get to play professional basketball, but the NBA would have to wait. I'm going to go to Europe. And that's how I chose to go to Europe. Great question. So the question was the transition from me going from being a professional athlete to now talking about professional athletes on NBC. So that's actually a cool story. When I played in the NBA and I finished my career in Europe, back in the EuroLeague. I was playing in a team in Kazan, Russia, called Unis Kazan. And in Kazan. And as I was about to finish up the year, I got a call from a lady named Michelle Murray, who worked for Comcast, NBC Universal, or back then it's Comcast. I don't know what his position was.
She's vice president of the program.
She's vice president of the program. She's like, hey, are you considering retiring? So mind you, I've never met her a day in my life. And I get this phone call from this American number. Mind you, I'm in Russia. I said, well, I'm thinking about retiring, but I might do one more year. She said, oh, well, let me know if you retire. And I said, okay, okay. We hung up. So I said, you know what? I'm a big fan of Spain. When I retire, I wanted to retire in Spain. I wanted to live in Spain. My ex-wife at the time was from Morocco, and she convinced me to come back to America. I love Europe. I love America, first of all, but also love the lifestyle of Europe, so I wanted to live in Europe. But I said I wanted to end my career in Spain. So I went back to play one more year in Spain. And then I got a phone call again in the middle of the season from the same lady, Michelle Murray. Mind you, I still haven't met this lady. At the time, and she's like, hey, are you about to retire? I said, actually, I am going to retire. It's been my last year. She said, when you'll think you'll be back? I said, I don't know, probably April, May. She said, call me when you get back. I said, what is this detainer for? She's like, well, would you consider doing TV? I said, never thought about it. So I said, okay, I'll call you when I get in. So I got back, and at the time I was living in Tampa, Florida. And as I got back, I said, I'm back. What should I do? She said, would you mind coming in for a mock show, like saying you're doing the show? So I got there, and I think I did it with Mark Zumoff, I believe, where they had like a tape game, and you're watching the game and just ad-libbing and just doing things, talking about the game, like calling the game, but like it's like not a real live game. So I started doing that, and mind you, I'm still like just doing it for the giggles because I don't really know what's this about. So I did it, and then we done, and I come. It was her. It was like 3 or 4 people in the room. It was like, would you consider doing television for the Sixers? I said, sure, but I was a computer information science major. I didn't go to school for that. She's like, no, you're fine. Like we thought you do. What would you be interested in doing? I said, sure, okay. She said, okay. Would you want? So is that a yes? I said, sure, why not? She said, okay, first game is Halloween. Try to be here 2 hours for the game. Thank you. That was it. So I got on-the-job training. The first day I stepped in the studio was my first time doing pre and post for the 76ers. And that was my first time doing on-camera TV in sports, as well as, and then after that, I got a call from ESPN's and CBS Sports about doing college games. So I was doing Sixers, and I was traveling the country calling college games as a color analyst.
Pretty cool story, huh? Yes. Pretty good. All right, right there in the back. Yep.
What are the best companies contact internship?
All of them. All of them. It's very important. Don't say, well, I'm going to call NBC. Call NBC, call CBS, call ABC, call all of them. Call every last one. Be on the phone with it. And it's a long chain of commands, lines you got to go through to who you talk to. Call everyone. And you call them this week, make a list. I call this company, I call this company, I call this company. Call ESPN, call all of them. And when you do that, you will get ran around. It's like, oh, you got to call this person, call that person. Well, no, you called the wrong line. You're going to put you through all that. Continue to keep calling. Keep inquiring. Make sure they know your first, middle, and last name. Say, my name is not Mark Jackson. My name is Mark Anthony Jackson. That's my whole name. Like, this is Mark Anthony Jackson calling. Oh, really? Yes. The salsa singer? No. Mark Jackson. Mark Anthony. So you keep putting your name out there. Keep calling. Call all the avenues. Make sure you get in touch with everybody because it's important that they hear your name, and don't give up. You hear from this week, say they get back to you. Okay, you give them 7 days. They'll call you back. Call again. Well, this person or anybody else I can speak to, call somebody else, but never let their phone stay down. Continue to keep calling.
Great advice. Great advice. Go ahead, Sean.
I watched the game yesterday with the Knicks.
Yes.
And you guys kept saying, who would you play in the playoffs?
Yes.
You said the New York Knicks.
Yes.
You were good.
So the question was on air, who would be the better matchup for the 76ers, the Atlanta Hawks or New York Knicks? And I said the New York Knicks because I feel as though, and I say it again, they beat us yesterday, and I love the way they're coached. Thibodeau's the best. He's one of the best coaches ever. He's just a great coach. But with that being said, the way Atlanta put us out, or did with the whole Ben Simmons debacle, I feel as though they have a little mojo over us, and they got Murray now. So from the San Antonio Spurs, I would kind of like, I don't know if I want to see them just yet. I think the Knicks are a year away and one more player away from being a top 4 team in the East. So even though they beat us yesterday in a 7-game series, I believe we will beat the New York Knicks. And less game we beat the Atlanta Hawks.
By the way, you see the Nick jersey back there?
I know. I know.
that?
He rubbing it in.
You
And I'm
see
a
that?
Philly guy.
You see that? All right, good, Danny.
I was just wondering what you think was the hardest part of transitioning from an athlete to covering athletes on the daily.
Woo! That's a great question. What was the hardest thing? One thing I just knew, and I used to love giving interviews. I used to love getting interviews, being myself, just being natural, charismatic, just joke around. I made friends with all the guys, men and women that covered us. The biggest transition was as a player. I had to take myself. I'm not a player no more. I'm not a player no more, and that's a hard pill to swallow. That's a real hard pill to swallow when you are not the player no more. Now you don't want to cover the players, which means you have to deal with egos. You have to deal with. You might not be able to get directly to him. You got to talk to him, then to talk to you. Those things happen, but then also put in perspective what I liked and didn't like when I was being interviewed. When people was talking about me on TV. The biggest thing that we hate as former athletes in our media is when a media member says somebody sucks. Those are fighting words. When we read that, oh, this guy sucks. In a locker room, you'd be surprised how many guys that's talked over the cliff will go in and find a reporter and kick his damn teeth in. Like, it's just a fact. So, like, that was the biggest thing, knowing to always respect. I'm big on respect. And knowing that I know that if I respect them, get respected no matter how great or how bad someone's playing, they're still doing something that 99.9% of the world cannot do. So the biggest thing is understand I'm not a player no more. I have to give my honest opinion, but I have to be fair. I have to be fair. And the best thing that I think that helped me a lot is understanding I might be cornered in question. But I say, yo, why did you say that? Like, I have 2 examples of that. One was with a coach, one was with a player. A few years ago, a certain coach was saying, well, I don't know why my player gets so much heckled by the media, why they on him so hard, why they question him so hard, and I went off on air. It was like, they do that because you make excuses for him. He don't make excuses for himself. You make excuses for him. And it was funny because God rest his soul, John Chaney, who's like a father figure to me, watched every show, never missed a show. And as you see on air, I always have my phone on the desk. Always have my phone on the desk because I'm used to Coach Chaney calling me during timeouts. During commercials. He would call me like, man, you kind of hold back, let it go. He was kind of like a big part of when I would speak on air. How was it when, like, it was kind of instant feedback because he watched every episode. So that was that. And then it was also to the point where, and that coach confronted me one time. His son was playing at a local camp. And I seen him, and he said, hey, man, I didn't like what you said about me. And I said, no disrespect, coach, I love you, but I said, it's true. It's true. You made excuses for him. So I said, you made the media come on him because of the stuff you made for him. So he didn't like that. But I was being that fair and honest. I listened to what he had to say. But that's true. And then the second one, I have a good friend on the Sixers team, not a friend, I have a good person I'm really close to in the Sixers now. And I said, we have an inside joke. And I said it, and when I said it on IG, somebody took it and said I said somebody's weight. So he called me like, Mark, he called me like 5 o'clock. Mark, first, what the hell was he doing that there? Really? He said, yo, Mark, this how you feel? Like, I said, what you talking about? He said, why'd you say that? I said, say what? And he said, you said something my way. I said, dude, I didn't say that. And I said, show me what you're talking about. He sent me the clip. And I said, man, I said, listen to it again. So what happened, somebody had picked it up from Colorado and said, yo, Mark talking bad about you, talking about your weight. And he called me on it. And then when I showed him what it really was, he said, man, I should never listen to these people again. And that's how you figure out I wasn't. It was just somebody trying to ignite a fire. So I always I respect everyone. I'm always being fair and honest, but I got to speak my mind. You know, I have a thing that a lot of people don't have. I have the inside scoop. I played the game at the level. I know what goes on in the locker room. So if I'm seeing something maybe different from, say, a normal talking head, it's good insight for the fans.
Was it hard to hold back during the Ben Simmons debacle, considering you always treat the players with respect and always are formal over air?
That's a great question. Was it hard to hold back during the Ben Simmons situation? Let me tell you about the Ben Simmons situation. I thought about it kind of differently. I was disappointed in Ben not wanting to play. but I kind of befriended his father. I got to know his father a little bit at a local gym we trained at and the same thing. So like that was when the thing like even though I got a chance to know his father, they still got to talk what I know and what I see. So one thing I was always nervous about was when he said it was mental health. I'm a big advocate for mental health and mental health awareness. And one thing I don't believe in, when somebody's going through something, you don't kick them while they're down. So I never spoke about was he soft or his mentality. I spoke about I hope he's okay. Hope he gets the help he needed. But I think I wish he had played, but I'm not in this space. I'm not in his head space. So I don't know where he is. So one thing I tried to do, and I hope I was good enough job, that I was always making sure I was fair to him and not just him, because I do think it's something mental there. And I think we're seeing it now play out even more in the Nets organization with him. So I know people going through mental health. So I would never want to disrespect him or anyone else that's not him that's still dealing with something. Because if I talk in a negative way and kick a man while he's down, or a person while he's down because of mental health, I'm kicking somebody else down. That's not him exactly. And that's not right. It's not fair.
Thank you.
Good question. Good question. All the way in the back.
What was the moment in your like Philly sports TV career where you're like, I made it, like this is what I want to do?
That's a loaded question. Ask that question again.
The moment in your Philly sports TV career, like your TV career, where you're like, this is what I want to do.
Ooh. Damn, that's a good one. Let me say this. So last season, I'm big on loyalty. I'm going through with that. I'm big on loyalty. Even though it's not really, in this game, it's not a lot of loyalty. People say this is not. People do what they do. Last year, Kate and Ala because of COVID, they set out some games and I filled in. And then for I don't know how many games it was, and I filled in for a lot of games I filled in. I think it was the last year or the year before. And the feedback I got from that was astounding. It was like, it blew my mind. The feedback I got from that made me appreciate the hard work I put in to kind of get better, to get better at my craft. But not just that, the job opportunities I got to do that for other NBA teams that I turned down, let me understand, like, oh wow, okay. Oh, I must have got good at this. So I think the feedback I got, and normally you're gonna get, we're in Jersey now, but this is Philly, Jersey. You're gonna get negativity. I don't care if it's a Christian and somebody's gonna give negativity about it. The baby was Christian. It was, I think to me, it was 100% positive feedback, and not just positive feedback. It was like overwhelmingly positive feedback. And when that happened, I said, the extra work I'm putting into to get better at this is showing that it's working. So I would think that was a big highlight of
Hey, Jess.
Hey Mark, I'm
Hello.
Jessica.
Hi, Jessica.
So I'm gonna get a little personal.
Let's do it.
So similar to you, I grew up in Camden.
Okay.
And some people would look at us like, we grew up in an environment that's around projects, but they don't realize like the drive that we have.
Mm-hmm.
So the question is really like growing up in North Philly, how did that impact your journey to becoming who you are now?
Oh, great question. So, for me personally, I went through a lot as a child. I had a lot of trauma as a child, and a lot of things going up, and I'm proud of myself. I use a lot of negatives and say that's not what I want to do, and I use that to fuel me. For me, growing up in a situation I grew up in Philadelphia, it was horrible. I wouldn't wish that on no one. But if I had to do it all over again, I actually would go through it again. Because it made me the person I am. It made me have the drive I have. I'm always hype. I'm a coffee and espresso drinker, but I haven't had none today. This is me. I'm always wired. And a lot of that because I have a thrill. I don't drink, I don't smoke, I never have. Because I've seen what drugs have done to my family and my environment, as well as alcohol. Since I was 8 years old, when I started being raised by my grandmother had speakeasies in Richard Island Project Home. So I've been pouring alcohol, shots, hardcore. So I've been around stuff since I was 8 years old. And I've seen what it's done to people. I don't care who drink, what you do, it's your business. I don't care, it ain't mine. But I've seen certain things that made me want to stay away from it. But with that being said, it fueled me. All that things that fueled me to make me have that dog in me. Like it's and it's not for everyone. I know I'm not for everyone. I have 3 sons, 16, 15, and 12. And every now and then they get like, come on, Dad, calm down. I'm like, no, get hype. That's just how I am. But it's interesting because here's another crazy story for you. When I rookie, so the rule in the NBA, they allowed to randomly drug test you 4 times a season. Randomly, 4 a year. When I played for Golden State Warriors, at one point I got drug tested so much that my team is like, yo, you got drug tested when I got drug tested. You can drug test again? I was like, yeah, you got. And it was crazy because I remember getting drug tested at least 8 or 9 times. And I finally asked my trainer, like, why am I getting drug tested so much? They said, Mark, here's the truth. They think you're on something. Like, because you're always on go. Like, your teammates complain about your injury. The coaches complain about you. You're always on go. And I took that as a compliment. So, and that's how I live life. Like, I'm high on life. Like, I'm so high on life that I feel as though I just turned 48. I just feel like I'm 20. I got so much energy. I got so much vigor. I'm in the best shape of my life. I train like I'm getting ready for Olympics tomorrow. I read. I train my mind and my body every single day. As soon as I wake up, I turn my thing on. I turn on either a TED Talk, a YouTube talk, or an audio book while I'm getting myself together. I'm brushing my teeth. I'm singing. I'm yelling. I get up and like, yes, lightweight. That's what I scream in my mirror every morning. And my children, I'm a big Ronnie Coleman fan. People don't know Google Ronnie Coleman. He's a famous bodybuilder. And he was the biggest, strongest guy with this low-pitched voice. But he always got himself so hyped. I'm a big fan of his because of his mental. And I always scream at the mirror. And like every morning, that's what I do. So my children like, Dad, would you calm down, please? I'm like, nope. And when I wake up, let's go. Come on, let's go. Let's get going. Like, it's like always being on go. And like I said, I'm not for everybody. But I would never change it because that's who makes me who I am. Like I just tell, I'm on a journey to maximize every second, every breath in this world and life. And not just physically, but mentally as well. So like when he, last night he said, could you kind of come there? Oh, sure, let's do it. Because I actually had a window. I was like, let's do it. Because I don't mind giving back. I don't mind talking to people. This is fun for me. I love it. I love engaging. I love touching. I love interacting with people. That's just me. Like I did at the auto show, I did a signing for the NBA in Kia. And there were like 1,000 people lined up. And I'm interacting with everybody. And Kia represented like, yo, we do these all around the country, like with everybody. Like that's incredible. I said, that's me. And that's a compliment. So I take everything negative that happens to me, that happens to everyone in my life, and I use it as positive, I use it as motivation. And I'm big on being nosy. Now, if a lot of people here, you ever hear your grandparents, mom say, stop being nosy, mind your business. But for me, I'm nosy, which means if Neil's talking to you about something, correcting you, and helping you with something, I'm listening to that. Because that's a free opportunity for me to learn something. He's not talking to me, but he's teaching him something. So I want to listen to what he got to say to him. What is he teaching? And when I teach, I have a mentorship, and I have about 50 kids, young men in my program. This do the game of basketball, but I tell them all the time, when a coach is talking to Larry or Barbara, you should be listening, even though they're not talking to you, because that's a free opportunity to get more knowledge. A lot of times we want to mind our business. Don't mind your business. Grandma, I know, God rest her soul. My grandma's name is Ida Bell Jackson. God rest her soul. She would be proud of me that I'm so nosy. And I keep trying to get more knowledge from other people. So I love being fueled by my environment that I was raised in.
I think he answered your question, Jess.
Yeah,
Right here.
First things first, I have to say, I think you're impeccably dressed today.
My God, thank you. Thank you. I just came out here. I don't normally came in a suit, but I'm sorry.
My question is, at what point did you fall in love with basketball for the first time? And
Oh.
how hard working were you to get to the NBA and Europe and all that?
Great question. When I fell in love with basketball, I was a late bloomer. So I had a kid who lived around the corner from me. His name was Kwame Bird. His dad was named Walter Bird. Walter Bird went to Temple University, actually played in the ABA for a few years. And he's a massive dude. I'm 6'10", 270. But I mean massive when I was a little kid. He was like 6'4". He was all ripped up and stuff. He was like ripped. And I was sitting on my step. And he was like, hey, you Ida's son? I said, yeah. He said, come with me. I was like, hey, come with you. I think I was maybe 12 or 13. He's like, come with me. And I said, Mom, some big dude told me to come with him. I said, who? My mom ran into, who that? She said, oh, him? Oh, you can go with him. I'm like, you can't go with this dude. And what she knew about this man played, he was a former professional basketball player that lived in our neighborhood. And he taught me the game of basketball. And I love the way he taught me because he was a mean dude. He was a grinder. We would do stuff like literally we would walk, and I grew up on Temple's campus. I was born in Temple Hospital. I was raised on Temple's campus at 11th and around 11th and Cecil B. Moore. And we would walk from there. Me, him, and he has a son the same age as me. We would walk from there to the YMCA in Camden, New Jersey. He would be on one side of the street, me and his son on the other street. We would walk the whole time. We would throw footballs across the street to work on our ability to catch the ball. Everything, we would walk. It was conditioning. We would get to YMCA, train for an hour and a half, then walk back. So he ingrained hard work in the beginning. So anything after the moment I started playing basketball was easy. Anything was easy. So then I started playing. I was horrible, man. I was what's your name? Jordan. I was freaking horrible, Jordan. I was a very obese kid. As a 15-year-old, I weighed over 300 pounds. Because when you're poor, all you can do, when you save a couple of quarters, you just can go to the local store and get like 3 chicken wings or a honey bun or a quarter water. That's all I could eat for years. So I just blew up because all the food was bad. I had a vegetable until I went to college. So anything after that moment became easier. So when I noticed I started getting good at it, I was like, oh, shoot. When I noticed that if I could outwork him, then I could probably do better than what he's going to do. And it helped that I grew up in Philadelphia. We had a lot of elite, great basketball players, a lot. So for me, I fell in love with the game around 15, 16, when I started paying attention. And I think one of my coaches took us to the Bellevue Hotel, which is a sporting club where NBA teams used to practice. And I remember meeting the Chicago Bulls and he snuck us in there, like 7 of us, 7 inner city kids. I don't know how the hell he got us in there. Snuck us in there, like I stood to this day, like how did he get us? Because you ever been to the sporting club at Bellevue? It's a hard place to get into, man. Would you admit that? Like he got us like right from the basketball court while the Chicago Bulls practicing, and he had Will Perdue come and talk to us. Google Will Perdue, like 7-foot guy. And I'm looking at him, the whole time he talking, I'm looking at his feet. How big his damn feet is. I think he wore a 22 triple E. Like his feet was huge. Look at his feet. But then I seen that and I was like, oh, they're professional basketball players. Then I start doing research, hearing about how much they make. It's like, I can get paid to play basketball. And I think at that point, that's why I fell in love with the game. I got time.
You all right?
Yeah, I'm fine.
Okay, you tell me.
Yeah, we good.
Okay. All right. Let me go all the way in the back.
As an aspiring analyst, you said you're from Philadelphia. How do you keep your biasness out of your analyzing the game on TV? And if you do, can you?
Great question. I'm a man of the people. I'm from Philadelphia. Like a lot of analysts or a lot of people you see are not from where they do stuff at. I'm from Philadelphia. I live in Center City, Philadelphia. I walk in the city of Philadelphia. This is a sports town. Boxing and basketball and football. That's the 3 Philadelphia things right there. Boxing, basketball, football, in whatever order you want to do it. You better not lie about any of those 3 or you're going to get called out. So the thing that helps me is like, I have conversations daily with people I don't even know. Walking down the street, sitting having a coffee, sitting having lunch or dinner. People walking to the waiter, the waitresses, the hostess. The best conversations I have is with the senior citizens walking in Philadelphia. Like, man, let me ask you what you think about this. It's like, I cannot be biased. I just got to be facts. But I'm not just speaking because I'm speaking about the Philadelphia 76ers as a Philadelphia 76ers analyst. I'm speaking as a Philadelphian. As a Philadelphian. So I understand if you are being biased, you're going to get called on it. And also, if you're being biased, the fans don't like that. The players don't like that either. And one thing, I'm not going to call this particular team out. I remember years ago watching NBA League Pass, and it was the Houston Rockets, I'll say it years ago. And I'm listening to them call a game. They were so biased. I was like, oh, that's freaking horrible. That's horrible. And not just as an analyst, but as a person who loves the game, as a fan, you don't want to hear that. I was always told, Michelle Murray gave me a great piece of advice when I first started. She said, when you're on TV, imagine some people are randomly in a bar at the airport. They don't know each other. They're from different walks of life. Pull them in. That was the best piece of advice of the game. So when I speak, I'm speaking to people at the bar, one from Idaho, the other from Vegas. They waiting for their flights, and they're watching TV for 5 minutes. How can I keep them there to miss their flight? So being honest, never lying, being factual, being respectful. So that's why I think I'm not biased.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Go ahead, Aiden.
What was your most memorable experience when you were playing overseas?
Great question. Oh, I know that right now. I have two. So my rookie year, I'm playing for Tofa. So now, let me remind you, remember I signed that big deal in Turkey? So let me tell you how life works. I really got injured as a teen. I really turned an ankle, broke a finger. I don't ever remember getting hurt. I remember I got off the plane, 10.5-hour flight to Turkey. I get off the plane, I take my physical. First of all, I got off the plane. They said, Mr. Jackson, you wait, you have to get off last. I said, okay, I look out the window. There's like thousands of people outside. Media, armed military. I'm like, what the hell is going on? Like, what did they say they're here for you? I'm like, what you mean they're here for me? Well, I didn't do nothing. I don't break no rules. Like, no. They want to interview us. All right, so I get off. And there's a big thing. Do you think you deserve this contract? It's the largest deal ever for playing up and all this. And I'm like, okay, whatever. So I go immediately take a physical. As I take the physical, they're giving me a complete physical. He said, man, your ankles are strong. You never turned your ankles. I said, no, I never sprained the ankle a day in my life. It's like, wow, for basketball, it's incredible. Remember that statement. I said, he said, wow, that's incredible. So then I go to the gym. The team is already practicing. And as they're practicing, they introduce, hey, this is Mark. He was starting practicing tomorrow. And they said, okay, so the driver's going to take you to your home. You come back tomorrow, you start practicing. I want to play now. Because remember, I'm always on go. It's like, you just had a 10.5-hour flight. You just had a press conference. You just had a physical. Get some rest. I said, man, I want to go now. They're like, hell yeah. Mind you, they gave me 80% of my money up front anyway. They wanted everything they got of me. So they put me on a bike. Count these seconds. They put me on a bike, stretched me out for 5 or 10 minutes. At that time, I said, I'm ready. I tell you on a 3-on-2 fast break drill. So it's like 3 offensive guys versus 2 defensive. 2 defensive guys to go back goes 1 defensive. So I'm on defense. Guy is going to hold, I'll block his shot. So it's me and the other guy, me and Neil versus somebody. We're going down. They give me the ball early. I try to take off and snap my ankle like a twig. And the first 36 seconds of my professional career. Remember the Gordon Hayward injury? That was me. First 36 seconds of my professional career. Millions in the bank in America. And he looked like, oh my God. So I remember I was probably out for a year and a half. But because of this incredible rehab I did, I came back like 6 months later. And I remember my first experience playing in Turkey. We're playing against a rival team called Efes Pilsen, which is one of the best EuroLeague teams in all of Europe. Furkan Korkmaz from the Sixers played for them. And we're there, and we're playing in that stadium, and that was my first experience hearing a European crowd is like. It's something like you've never seen. Eagles fans, we kind of out there, but it's nothing compared to EuroLeague fans. Like, it's passion, it's heart. That first moment, having 10,000 people scream your name with such vengeance and so like just spitting it out there, that experience to me was my best favorite professional experience ever. Forget anything in college, forget anything in high school, forget anything in the NBA. And then I have one more. Then I went to play for a team called Olympiakos, which is like the best team in Europe. That's in Athens, Greece. We're playing against our rival team, Panathinaikos, which is also Greece, which is another top club. And I'm at the foul line, and when their stadium holds maybe 30, 40,000 people, sold out every game. And I'm about to shoot foul shots. And Len Greer, who's a former Temple player, was my teammate. The ref's about to give me the ball, and I had to look up in the stands. and there's a full-blown fire in the stands. I'm like, yo, man, it's goddamn fire up there. The referee, and Lynn said, man, you shoot the foul shot, man, and we're home. I'm like, are we going to fire? Like, man, this always happens. What you mean it's a fire up there? Literally, I'm on the foul line. The referee said, man, if you don't shoot these foul shots, they're going to kill us all, man. So those two experiences to me was just the best professional time of my life, those two experiences, because that was fuel to me. So forget whatever happened in the NBA, forget dunking on Shaq, forget getting dunked on by LeBron. Those two experiences for me, because I'm a basketball fan, those are my two favorite.
Pretty good. All right. Go ahead, Sean.
What do you think about people who say that today's game of basketball in the NBA, how the NBA is played, is like it's not the best form of basketball. Like these aren't the best and most talented players in the playing. Like they say that it's no defense, too flashy, it's all about the hype, and it's not like the purest form of the game. Do you agree or what are your thoughts?
Great question. I think the three-point shot, if you asked this 5-6 years ago, I said three-point shot ruined the game. I now just say it changed the game. It just changed the game. Steph Curry has changed the game. Steph Curry. Now I go watch middle school games or high school. Everyone can shoot the ball. Everyone can shoot the ball. My youngest son is in the 6th grade. He plays for Penn Charter Middle School, and they play at another school called Malvern Prep. One of his teammates has 6 threes a day, and these are not high-level players. These are just middle school, private school kids playing. They're not high-level players. But I watched this kid who probably only touched a basketball once or twice a week, but he can shoot the damn ball. So I think the game has just changed because of Steph Curry, that more people can shoot the ball. I think it's more wide open, and I think the NBA wanted that way. It should be more excitement, more scoring. So they favor the offensive person. Is it different? It's different. Will I have flourished more in this game? Yes, because I was a shooting big man. Do I think it's bad? I don't think it's bad. I just think it's different. And I can be that old guy, get off my lawn, and say I was horrible back in my day. But I look at it like the stars who are the stars would probably have been the stars 20 years ago. Now, I probably leave here and see some people, they want to fight me because a former player said that's a lie. But like, LeBron James would be LeBron James in any era. Giannis would be Giannis in any era. I do wonder if Steph Curry could have that impact 15 years ago. I don't know if he could because of how physical the game was, and he probably would get 2 or 3 intentional fouls every game and hit him. And see, I don't know if he made it, but other than that, I don't think it's a bad thing. I just think it's different, and people don't like change.
All right. Who hasn't asked a question? Let's go in the back.
Do you think it's going to be a good or bad thing for the NBA once they allow kids to come right from high school to the NBA again, or do you think a couple years of college is necessary for a player to?
That's a loaded question, buddy. You better be prepared for that one. So if you repeat that question out loud, that's a great question.
Do you think it's a good or bad thing that the NBA to allow players to go from high school to college, or do you feel like those couple years of college are necessary for a development of a basketball player?
So what's your name?
Matt.
Matt asked the question. I'm going to make sure I hear this question because that's a loaded question. Do I think it's a good or bad thing that players are going to start being able to come back out of high school to go to the NBA, or do I think they need 1 or 2 years? Did Serena Williams need more time in college before she became a tennis star? Did any golfer? No. Here's the facts. To me, they're factual to me, so that's what it is. The right way is the wrong way is my way. So, do I think college can help kids? What you talking about, academically or athletically? That's what the question is. No, so as you talking about athletically, yes, I think it could, but I think you can't make somebody do what they don't want to do. Once a person turns 18, you can go to war. So if you can go to war for your country, you should be able to make a decision on your own. So if you want to take your chance in the NBA, then take your chance. I don't think people say, oh, God, players need NBA. I'm about to get controversial here. I'm good with that. So if you look at the people who say, oh, they need to go to college, there's only certain people saying that. If you ask me as a black kid that didn't have nothing in the city and somebody said I need to go to college, no. What college did Bill Gates go to? I don't even say they need college. When people speak about inner city youth, they think they know what's best for inner city youth. College is a great form of getting extra means of education, but you don't need brick and mortar to get that. I'm sorry if that's controversial, but that's just how I see it. You don't need brick and mortar to get education. You don't. I think it's very important that let people make their decision once they turn 18. Some people are gonna make some horrible decisions, but we all make horrible decisions in our life, right or wrong. The difference between me and everybody in here is that we was able to live the next day to make up for that decision. A lot of athletes will make decisions with what they think is right because they may be getting bad advice, but some of the advice may be good. So I like the fact that they're gonna go back to the rule that kids could be able to go straight out of high school and make ends meet for their family. Like if I was damn sure good enough, I would have did it. And I always tell people this, you don't have to go to college first to get a college degree or to go to college. You can go to MBA, then go back and go to college. It's now since COVID, like online courses. Like you still can get educated to a higher degree in your high school diploma. And then on the other thing with that, now let's open up a can of worms on the other end. Now with NIL, I think now it's gonna be you believe it or not, people don't believe when I say this. Now with the NIL, you're gonna see some players who normally go to NBA say, "Nah, I'm gonna go to college now," because in the NBA, where would I be drafted? Slot me now. Certain college guys are gonna get paid a boatload of money. Like, so some of those guys that normally will make a horrible decision knowing they're not going to be drafted or knowing they may be drafted second round, which slots you at a non-guaranteed contract. You go to college and sign a deal. Like, right down the street, look at DJ Wani just signed for. Like, Wani just signed for, $1 million a year, I think, or close to it. So, like, if now he's going to contemplate, do I have to be a one and done? I get 4 years, more than that. Like wherever Bronny decides to go, he's gonna make a $4 million a year NIL. Like it's going now. I think it's a good window because now I think some kids that would normally make a bad decision and go to the NBA because their cousin Louis said go. When I say I go to college and make a ton of money, so let me make a better decision, and colleges may have a chance to keep them in there. So that's a loaded question. Sorry.
Let's do two more. We'll do two more questions, okay? Go ahead, Nick.
So talking about Joel Embiid for a second, just what are your thoughts about the way that his game has evolved over the years, and where do you think he stacks up with some of the greatest big men of all time?
His name is Joel Hansen, okay? The Hans. Joel's game has developed so much that his IQ has developed more than anything. What I mean by IQ, I don't mean by taking a test, but like watching him evolve in a basketball court, watch him do things he couldn't do before, watch him slow the game down in his head to pick people apart is so impressive. You keep looking, and these stats we put on the air, guys, are factual stats. We don't exaggerate nothing. How many times have you heard last 2 years, the first time since Wilt, the first time since Kareem, the first time since Moses? Like, he's doing things that only the all-time great have done. And I made a statement on air, and I got my DMs blew up, where I said he may be the most skilled center in the history of basketball. He said, how can you say that? With Shaq, Hakeem, Kareem, Wilt? I said, skill. He's the most complete center in the history of sports. In any people, Europe, I have a lot of people in Europe. They talk about, what about Sabonis? I didn't see Sabonis. I seen Sabonis when he got here. He was really good, but Sabonis wasn't beat-bopping people off the dribble. Sabonis wasn't hitting step backs. Hakeem Olajuwon wasn't crossing guards over. Shaq wasn't shooting 80-something% for free throw line. Kareem has a great score, but Kareem couldn't necessarily make plays off the dribble like Joel had. Talking about completeness, he's the most complete center in the history of the game. Joel Hans Embiid. So I think he's great.
Do you think he's better than Jokic currently?
Two different players, and I like how you did that. So, two different players. So it's funny. I'm a big fan of Joel. I'm a big fan of Jokic. But Jokic is the point guard. Bless you. They got him at center, but he's the point guard for their team. He brings the ball up. He calls the play. He sets it. He's a point guard. I think they're two different players, but I think skill-wise, they're the most complete players ever. The biggest difference, with no disrespect to Jokic, Joel's defensive intensity and defensive skill set just puts him on a whole nother atmosphere than any other center, meaning both ends of the ball. So I mean, complete Jokic is great, but can Jokic defend like Joel? No, he can't. But he's a better passer than Joel. He's a better playmaker than Joel. Rebounding, I think they're close. Scoring, I think they're close. The thing that separates Jokic, I think Jokic's a better passer. But Joel Embiid is by far the best defender. So that's how we compare. I think they 1A and 1B.
Go ahead, Sam.
By the way, you have become a motivational speaker on a TikTok.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
While playing in Philly, how did you motivate yourself for the fans? And what was it like hearing everything from on the court, what the fans would say?
Great question. And let me tell you that. So first of all, I loved playing for the Sixers. But I have people from Philly that hated playing for the Sixers. And we have conversations about that all the time. They hated it. I love playing for the Sixers. And let me tell you, again, I have a lot of great stories. Here's a story that when I remember my first game for the Sixers, we were about to play at home, first regular season game. And you know how they had the security guards, men and women? They're not like police officers. They're like the elderly people that sit up, you show me your ticket, they show you where to go. I remember this guy named Rodney who grew up, he was a lot older than me. But he was like, he seen me grow up in Richard Island Homes, Cambridge Mall, Richard Island, Leverage Drive. And he lived near there. He was one of the security guards there. And there was a lady, and I remember looking in the stands. I seen these people crying. Like these security guards, they're like hugging, like doing like this, crying. Like, and they said, man, like, seeing you on that court, we seen you grow up. You making it means we made it. Think about that. They're telling me, like, watching, they see me, they see them in me. Me playing in the 76, like, they made it. So when I played for the Philadelphia 76ers, I knew I wasn't just representing me. I knew I was representing the city of Philadelphia. I knew I was. To get the honor to grow up, I was born in Temple Hospital. I went to elementary school at 13th and Lehigh. I went to middle school at 12th and Cecil B. Moore. I went to high school at Broad and Vine. Like, I pretty much, and I played at Temple. I played for the Sixers. I'm pretty much a Broad Street kid. So every time I put that uniform on, it was personal for me. I wasn't the fastest guy. I wasn't the highest jumper. But I knew I had the backs of thousands when I stepped on that court. I played for myself. I played for the fans. I played for my little brother, who's now 27, 28 years old now. I played for him. I played for the people. I played for him. I played for my mother. I played for my grandmother. I played for so many people. So it was an honor to play for 76. It was like, because I knew so many people had made it because I made it. So me wearing a 76ers uniform, the pressure was real, and I loved every minute of it. Every time I stepped foot in that foul line, I knew everybody in there was like, Mark, you shooting this for us. So, and like I said, I had lots of teammates and people I knew that's from Philadelphia that played for the 76ers that hated every single moment they wore a Sixers uniform because they hated that pressure, knowing everybody was watching. I embraced it. And if I can tell any player now, I tell them, like, look, when you wear that uniform as a Philadelphia native, no matter if it's basketball, football, like look at Redick, look at everybody. You're not just playing for yourself, you represent other people. And that could be good or bad. A lot of people can't handle that pressure. Pressure bursts pipes, but pressure also makes diamonds. And I embrace that pressure.
Sam, I concur. He could be a TED Talk anytime. I mean, you definitely know how to motivate young people. On behalf of all the students here, thank you for making the quick task to get here. I think it was well worth it to wait. I think he was definitely well worth it. I appreciate all of you for being patient and waiting, and it was great. You were terrific. thank you so much for coming. Now you see why he's on television, right? Let's give Mark Jackson a round of applause. All right, don't forget, next week, special announcement. You'll see more about it as we get to next Monday. We'll see you here next week.